Filipinas, the ones that are, they probably had a bunch of foreigner boyfriends already.
Mm-hmm.
They're more savvy, they're more experienced. Some of them are scammers, some of them are not, but they're usually not that genuine wife material type. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the Filipino Weather, and today I am with
Chad, with,
he have a YouTube channel as well, guys.
yes, Chad Foster Explores.
So
Check it out.
yeah. So how long have you been here in the Philippines?
I have been here for about a year and a half now. Yeah, I came here for 9 months and then I went back to see my family and they're in Canada and check on my place in Florida. And then I came back after a couple months and I've been here for another 9 months. And I'm heading back to Canada pretty soon to see my family again. But yeah, all in all, a year and a half.
So how's your stay so far here in the Philippines?
It's amazing. I love it. I am enjoying my new lifestyle overseas compared to my lifestyle back home. So
Mm-mm.
no complaints. I mean, there's pros and cons for sure, but overall, by far,
Mm-mm.
I'm loving it. Yeah.
So when you come here in the Philippines, do you plans on meeting a Filipina, or you're talking before?
Uh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. It was sort of my motivation to come here was a little bit of there was a few things, but meeting someone was definitely part of it. Like a big part of it for sure. I um I didn't know much about the Philippines until I started chatting with a coworker who's from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of coworkers and friends that were Filipino in healthcare. I was an occupational therapist and he's a PT. And so over time, I just learned more and more about the Philippines. He was showing me like videos on YouTube of how beautiful it is, all these amazing islands and waterfalls and beaches. So right away, I was like, that looks amazing. I would love to see that. And then I had like broken up with a girl over there,
Mm-hmm.
and he suggested, he's like, why don't you try meeting a Filipina? And I didn't know anything about it until then. And then he started to describe some of the differences of what you could
Mm-hmm.
expect if you were with a Filipina. And it almost sounded like too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like I need to look into this more. And so that became part of it too. So coming to a place that's low cost of living, I was burnt out of my job. So that was motivation to get somewhere where I can take a breath and yeah, be able to live much more inexpensively and then potential to meet someone great and then all the beautiful nature that's here. So those were the three reasons
Mm-hmm.
that I came out here for. Yeah.
Why you choose Philippines over some of the other Asian countries?
Well, because of what I just said, like that was enough to get me
Mm-hmm.
interested in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Thailand years ago, so I know a little bit about that. I was only there for a month. Um, so yeah, I think coming here, there was always in the back of my head the thought, well, if I'm in the Philippines, then I'll probably end up checking out the other countries. But Philippines just made sense because of, I guess, because of my friends from here and learning about it. It just sounded like a good place to start with.
Mm-hmm.
For one, English speaking, it makes it easier. Um, from meeting someone, it sounded like that would be a big pro as far
Mm-hmm.
as meeting a girl that does speak English, as far as getting to know each other. So I know that played a part in it. Yeah, everything sounded good, safe, easy to travel, low cost of living, and we'll see. I'm still planning on going to Vietnam and checking out some other countries, but
Um, when you when you got here in the Philippines, how's the people here, the cultures?
that's one of my top three things on why I love it here is the overall vibe of just being here, the culture, the people, like very welcoming. You always get the feeling like not only are you welcome here, but sometimes it just feels like they want you to be here. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
just so happy that you're here. And you don't always feel that. I mean, I've traveled to a lot of countries. You don't always feel it to that level. So it makes it easy to travel around. I do tell people though, you almost feel like you have this privilege too, honestly. Like you feel like you're treated so well sometimes and
Mm-hmm.
almost better. It's kind of weird. And hopefully people don't take advantage of that. But yeah, it's a unique feeling coming here. I know like foreigners, we come here with more money and we can do different things and that might be part of it, but I think the culture is just Filipinos are just a friendly, warm, welcoming, family and friend oriented type of people that just makes for a good vibe. It sets the mood. It sets the mood
Yeah.
for being here. And then when you come here, you know, you sort of attach yourself to that vibe, and then you sort of carry that with you, and then so you notice that amongst like foreigners that are here too. Most of them are sort of like in that good mood vibe, friendly vibe. So yeah, it's awesome.
So, what are the things that have you learned living here in the Philippines?
The things that I've learned,
Yeah.
man, so many things. I mean that could be a video in itself, but right away I would say, gratitude for, you know, in some ways how easy we've had it, like growing up
Mm-hmm.
in Western country, opportunities and, lifestyle and things like that. When you go into the province, like I have, and I've met people out there, and you see how some people live. What I first glance was I felt bad. Like I felt, how could you live like that? And then as you spend more time, I mean, within like a couple of hours, you
Mm-hmm.
realize, wait a minute, it doesn't really matter. Like these people are often very happy despite not having a lot. Like I remember going to a province home where they didn't have like any money at all, but they wanted to make sure I was the one that ate first. I was the
Mm-hmm.
one that got to enjoy. Like they treated me so well despite not having much. They didn't expect anything from me. So how could you not just feel so grateful and appreciative? So I've learned through that. I've learned about how resilient Filipino people are through some challenges, whether it be just poverty in some cases or heck, typhoon destruction and like
Mm-hmm.
losing a home and, just get right back to it with a smile on your face. So yeah, these are the biggest learning experiences that I've had, but there's lots of little ones too.
So, what are some mistakes that most common foreigners do here in the
I'm
Philippines?
sorry, what was that?
What are some common mistakes that some foreigners?
Mistakes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mistakes too. That could be a video in itself
Mm-hmm.
as well. I mean, there could be, well, a lot of foreigners come here to meet a Filipino, so there's a lot of mistakes related to that. One of the biggies is a lot of guys come here thinking, okay, I'm going to this poor country where, I'm going to be the rich guy, just to kind of make a point. Like I'm trying to describe it. And so a lot of guys will lead with their wallet and they'll use that as leverage and sort of do that in a way to entice and meet a Filipina, which is a terrible way to start anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're setting it adds to that part of the dating culture here that no one likes. The money exchange, the transactional type relationship. So a lot of guys make the mistake with that, and they end up in relationships that they later wish they didn't get into. Um, there's a ton of mistakes regarding relationships. Let's see. What else? Any particular area that you'd want to talk about, and then I can maybe talk about
Any
mistakes.
kind,
What's that?
any kind of.
Well, give me an example. I could talk about just relationships, but anything else?
Well, like a relationship. Let's go through
Just
a
stick with
relationship. Yes.
relationships. Yeah. Well, that's a biggie for sure. Um, the type. Okay, so a lot of foreigners do struggle to find what they ultimately are looking for in a Filipina, and a lot of guys they say they want to come here and meet a wife, but there's a couple of things that happen. So right away, you get attention that you probably never got before. And so a lot of guys end up in this cycle of enjoying this new world of dating here. So many opportunities. And it often just becomes a distraction from an ultimate goal of meeting someone that you really want to be with for like long term. And there's a lot of these Filipinas that you're going to come in contact with first. Like they're the ones that are easier, not only easier to like find because they're the ones that are on all the dating apps and they're the ones that are more friendly and they're looking at you. Um, so what happens is guys end up with these girls. I call it like this front line of Filipinas, the ones that are they probably had a bunch of foreigner boyfriends already.
Mm-hmm.
They're more savvy, they're more experienced. Some of them are scammers, some of them are not, but they're usually not that genuine wife material type. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of bad foreigners too. It goes both ways. But guys come here and they end up dating these girls, and a lot of these guys don't even know. They think that's what it's like here. These are the girls that there are to date. They don't realize a lot of the really good ones they're not the ones waving their arms at you, throwing themselves at you. They're full-time working, breadwinners. You know, they're cautious of foreigners because of the reputation of foreigners coming here for
Mm-hmm.
fun. They might be even a little standoffish if you go and talk to them because they're not sure of your intentions. But what they really want is a good guy. So it's going to take longer to get to know them and you have to go slow. And a lot of guys come here for fast, like action. They're ready. They're ready to date. And they have
Mm-hmm.
all that, the frontline girls that are ready to date. So it's easier. And you end up in this world, this different world. There's like two worlds of relationships here. There's that one, and then there's the ones that are not out in the open. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense? Like, this is a big challenge for guys, and the temptation is so big, you know, as far as just enjoying all of that dating.
Mm-hmm.
And same for Filipinas. There's so many options for Filipinas now that if you're in that pool, it's the same thing for them. That front line, that easy access to foreigners and being treated and going on vacations, and then they're caught up in the cycle of dating and all that. So there's that, and then there's the gems that are out there that are a little trickier to find, take a little longer, you know, maybe more traditional stuff like that.
So, in regards of dating in the Philippines, so where to find a good Filipina?
Well, like I said, there's the ones that are going to be waving their arms at you, not literally, but they're the ones that are they're throwing themselves at you, whether it be through, you know, the communication. They're making it so easy for you, and they're willing to just meet you right away, go to your condo right away, travel with you right away. It's enticing, and in a lot of cases, it works depending on what your motivation is to just come here and enjoy a travel companion or someone to go on dates with. But I mean, I'm single, so you're asking a guy how to meet a good one who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have anyone right now. But I've learned a lot in the last year and a half. And what I've learned is, for one, you really have to know what you're looking for, like really know, like all the things that are so important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Be ready for that. Be willing to like be motivated to avoid all of the temptation and stick to your guns, stick to what your real motivation is for coming here. And if it's to meet a good one, so don't get distracted, know what you're looking for. And I think that you can meet a good girl online. It's not like you can't. You can meet a
Mm-hmm.
good girl just walking down the street. It can happen anywhere. But if you're doing the online thing, you really have a lot of Filipinas to navigate through that are probably not going to be the right ones. So you have to get a little bit lucky and again, avoid the distractions. I mean, if they're wearing bikinis in all their photos, a lot of guys are swiping right on that. But is that the kind of girl? Is that wife material, or is that a girl that's probably going to just go on as soon as you go back to your country? They're off with the next foreigner. So I think boots on the ground makes a lot of sense, but it's not necessarily easy either, and you have to be patient. I can go on
Mm-hmm.
forever about this. I don't want to be too long-winded, but last thing, like I think province Filipinas are fantastic. You have to be aware though, it's very different. They're not exposed to a lot of things, so they're not going to be as maybe open-minded, but they can change over time. And they might have sort of a fantasy world mindset of relationships. There's not a lot of dating. So if you go to meet them, that means serious. If you meet their family, that's very serious. And there might be like the thought of marriage right away. It's just it takes patience and it takes understanding, and it's tricky to navigate. But I think there's good ones there. You have to be very patient and go slow, and yeah. So find the right kind of balance of what you're willing to go to as far as the type of girl.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think there's still a lot more traditional?
A lot of traditional Filipinas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's changing. I mean, even in the last year and a half that I've been here, yeah, the closer you get to the city, the more Filipinas you'll meet that will resemble a Western woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not uncommon here. Like similarities, it's still unique, right? But it's similar. And the further you go into the province, the more, the more likely you're going to meet a more traditional or very traditional Filipina. I would imagine the younger generation
Mm-hmm.
is going to be less traditional, you know, but traditional, like it means a lot of different things. And I think guys have to really know if they want a traditional girl. Do they want a true traditional, like courting them for over a year, no
Mm-hmm.
romance, just courting them and going that slow? A lot of Filipinas are looking for that, like real slow. They're not looking to jump into bed. Some of them they don't want to do that until marriage. Like I think most Westerners don't They don't want to do that. So it's figuring out the right balance. For me, I think in between. I think a balance of someone that like has education, some work experience. It doesn't have to be a fancy career at all, but someone with some life experience, but with like a traditional background.
Mm-mm.
Grew up in the province, really learned through that sort of mindset. I think is a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being part of this interview. Thank you, Chad. And
Yeah, no worries. I just talked a lot. Hopefully, some of that was okay.
yeah, thank you so much, Chad. I really enjoy hearing from your experience as an
No
expat
worries.
here. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe on our channel, and thank you for watching on this video. Bye bye, guys.
See ya.